Going over his options, he remembered the bookshelves near the piano. That sounded like a good place to hide a hint. And fittingly, he found Piano at the piano playing a song. Yet another very fitting nickname. Meanwhile, his still seemed arbitrary. Before starting the search, he sat down on one of the nearby chairs to listen. While being no expert, he could tell it was good. Even at his age, he must have had years of experience. It gave him the impression of a young prodigy, a concept tightly linked to the piano thanks to people like Mozart, although piano probably wasn't on that level. Still, listening to that gentle song calmed him down slightly, which his body desperately needed since he woke up in that cage. It hadn't been the type of song he'd expected from piano. He was trying so hard to appear mature that Bill had expected him to force himself to listen to more hardcore types of music. Once the song was over, he clapped. Though it wasn't very loud, Piano jumped up slightly, turning around immediately.
Ah! Why are you here?
Wait, did I scare you?
How long were you here?
You didn't hear me coming?
I was focusing! Answer!
I didn't hear the start of the song, but I've been here a few minutes, I guess? I didn't want to interrupt. Actually, I thought you already knew I was here. Sorry. He also hadn't expected him to get angry for that. Piano turned his head towards the piano, but with a sideways glance at Bill.
You better be sorry. Didn't scare me, but...
Judging by reaction, he was quite sure he had, but he didn't say anything to maintain peace.
You only came to see?
Actually, I was just taking a walk. He decided to keep quiet about checking the bookshelves. Their objectives had to be kept secret, and saying anything about searching could make it obvious. Actually, the rules forbid them from revealing someone else's objective to kill. Unless you were number one. He believed that nobody would do it, but as much as he wanted to trust them, he couldn't help but be slightly wary and be safe. But you play pretty well, so I took a seat in the audience.
Pretty well? How much exactly?
Not sure. I'm not that into classical music.
Lame.
You sounded offended. It's not that I don't like it, it's just not something that I listen to often.
What do you listen then?
Well, lately, I've listened to some of Beyondre's newest album. How dare you! Okay, fair enough.
You listened to that? Seriously?
I heard a lot of people liked it.
I know. Of course that one's very popular, but mainstream sucks.
I mean, he's telling the truth on that. Huh?
What? Do you just listen to whatever's popular?
Well, maybe. Music in general isn't really a hobby for me. If people really recommend something, I just...
Pathetic.
Of all the things he had expected to happen during that twisted game, his taste being criticized by a kid was not one of them. Yep. I swear, why are me and billiards on a similar... Like, maybe not, but no. When it comes to music, no.
I'll give you some good quality names, and you'll see I'm right.
Classical?
No! Techno and, like, rap. Stuff like that.
Wait, nothing classical?
Classical is for, well...
He himself realized that what he was saying didn't match the little concert he just performed.
I can recommend some classics, too.
Okay. What was that kid's problem? Bill was quite confused. What were you playing?
You don't even know that? It's Claire de Lune.
Oh yeah. Now that you mention it, it does sound familiar. Who wrote it?
Beethoven.
Oh right. I should have seen that coming. There's a reason he's so famous. What?
It's Claude Debussy, idiot! You're clueless. Beethoven's is Moonlight Sonata, also about the moon.
I'm an idiot. He's right, Oh, no idea then. Honestly, outside of Mozart and Beethoven, I don't know much. Piano didn't seem to want to talk anymore, considering that he had just turned around, so Bill left him alone and moved to the bookshelf. Cigar and Piano had already checked them before, but they probably didn't go book by book. I feel bad for that poor kid. Mostly because we failed miserably. As they said, they were academic books about science, philosophy, and artistic subjects. No fun, no fiction.
Damn it!
It looked a little out of place in a bar. Not just the subjects, but the mere presence of any sort of book. It made it look like a library. Honestly, in my personal opinion, bars would probably be a bit more enticing if they did have, like, half a library. But that's just me, and also, I don't ever go into bars. For various reasons. I don't like smoking, and I do not like the idea of drinking. Just smoke makes me sick. Just being near secondhand smoke makes me very sick. It didn't sound like a bad idea for those who wanted to read sitting down on one of the sofas with a drink, but it probably wasn't the usage that most people would give a bar. It wasn't a disco, but it was still a social space where reading alone didn't fit. Does this mean anything? It could be a clue to the identity of its owner, or merely a distraction. I don't know, let's see. Hey! I've never written a diary before, but I guess I might as well use this if I have it. Maybe it helps. We've been here for about an hour, this bar. The first council went okay, more or less. No, can't really say it went perfectly okay, but it could have been much worse. I had to put this risk on myself, but thanks to that now it seems like we've all got a deal. Not everything is lost. There's hope. Still don't know how we'll survive this, but I'll keep thinking. Cool. I keep accidentally hitting that like a doofus. Oh well. I forgot. How do I check where the hints are? Oh well. Or perhaps, if the owner wasn't the founder of the bar, it had no meaning. It could also just be there as a place to hide clues. That's what he wanted to check. Okay, so where to start? He needed an idea, a trail to follow, some plan of action. And that plan was to save his progress. Search randomly until you find something! Obviously, he had no clue. Literally and figuratively. Which meant that he was going to need a lot of patience. And luck. Especially luck. If there was even something to find in the first place. Several minutes later, after looking through 20, maybe 30 books, he found nothing. There was still a lot to check, but... Just when he was about to leave, one called his attention. He grabbed it and started looking in more detail than the others. He went page by page, one by one, searching for anything strange. And finally, he found it. In between the pages lied an unrelated newspaper clipping. Oh? Hey! Objective accomplished. His barman confirmed it had been done. That was one of the game's clues. It was small, probably cut from a much larger page, and only one article could be read on its entirety. All names had been manually censored, however. Of course. Minor news about a car accident. The victim had survived, but... He took a deep breath and continued reading. The only victim had been hospitalized for a few days. Apparently, the cause of the accident had been sleep deprivation. He wasn't sure what information could be drawn from that clue, but the important part was the objective getting done. Rule 9 wouldn't kill him, at least not that hour. Hint, newspaper clip add to the inventory. I now have an inventory. After calming down, he put it in one of the pockets. Hopefully everyone completed their objectives. Not much to do there. Even if he did his best to avoid deaths, if someone aside from 9 failed their objective, he couldn't save them. With the objectives being secret, he had no way to help directly. He had to trust in them. Fingers crossed. Fuck. A car accident. I'm gonna have to look closer at that newspaper clipping, but... Are our characters involved with that? Did we all potentially play some part? I wonder. He chose to go to the lower section, where they were carried out the council. I'm keeping these 2 saves just in case. He chose to go to the lower section, where they carried out the council. Coffee! Newspaper. The sole victim, who was driving the vehicle on way to work, survived. However, had to stay in the hospital for a few days to recover from the injuries. The car crashed into a wall after allegedly fell asleep on the wheel for a moment. After being discharged from the hospital, the victim confessed a lack of sleep that had lasted for several days due to overwork. This has led to a controversy surrounding the company, the famous computing giant Blank, which denies any mishandling of their workers. Okay, this has like a bunch of new stuff in here. Overwork and a computing giant company. I wonder. My character didn't seem to have a slight reaction, but we know my character works. Does it explain that he overworks? Interesting. Coffee. Even though he still barely knew them at all, he felt like the one he knew the least was her. Since he'd woken up there, she had been the one to speak the least. And yet, those few times where she did had attracted everyone's attentions. She seemed to be the sort of person to only talk if she had anything meaningful to say. Perhaps she was harmless. And she probably was, yet the possibility that she was hiding something, some bad intentions, wasn't leaving his head. It was for that reason that he wanted to try talking to her one more time. Not only for the need to avoid anyone getting hostile, but also because he was simply worried. A plan. In order to avoid another embarrassing failure, which weren't great for his self-esteem, he needed a strategy. Think. No, don't go to the menu. She saw me, right? Was just my imagination, I think. Great. Now what? Pretend I didn't notice? No, won't work. Oh, well, I'll just have to go for it like last time. Hell, hi! Are you searching here too? Yes. Oh, it's finally playing a theme for her? Me too. Was it even possible to have a talk with her? Each time he tried to, he had bumped into a big wall that seemed impenetrable. Clearly, he wouldn't get anywhere with simple questions. You need to bring up some good topic. I'd like to know what you think about what we talked on the council. You didn't say much. For a moment, Coffee looked away, trying to ignore him, but he kept looking at her, waiting for an answer. Sorry, I don't want to do this, but you leave me no other choice. I'll keep staring and waiting until I get an answer. That's kind of creeper attitude. You're a creeper. Oh, goddammit, she got me! Without expecting any success, it finally worked when the awkwardness made enough pressure to make it impossible for her to keep acting like she was alone. I doubt we can escape, but I'm not planning to kill either, for now. What makes you so sure that we can't? What makes you so sure that we can? Well, we can't know for certain until we look deeper. Pointless. I understand the lack of hope, but without the antidotes, we can't escape. I know. And they won't be here. Probably not. They also won't be waiting outside. Well, they have to be somewhere. Judging by the distribution method, they're on a floor above. Probably one we can't go to. They came down from a lift, so yeah, I guess they're above us. But there must be a way up. Someone, that owner must be up there lowering them. So there should be some stairs or something. Right? He wasn't sure if Coffee didn't have an answer, or if she had decided that talking to him was a waste of time. Really, they could only speculate. There could be security measures that prevented them from going up, or some protection, but there was no way to know whether they were impossible to overcome or not without seeing them. Perhaps acknowledging it, she had decided that blind speculation was meaningless. Okay, so let's talk about something else. You said you didn't plan to kill. For now? I will if I find it necessary. But if you say there's no way to escape... Even so, others can take care of the killing. Being one of the 3 survivors is enough to win. In other words, she planned to win while dirtying her hands as little as possible. Yeah, seems like it. Possibly the most logical way to approach the game. However... Oh, fuck. Dispute. But do you think surviving is easy? Is that why you're keeping away from us? I think that'll only put you in more danger. Sometimes we need others' help, and hiding away will only make you vulnerable. Still more likely to work than your plan. That hurt like a punch to the gut. And even recognizing that he was being idealistic, he preferred it to falling into the cynicism that most of them seemed to be engulfed in. As long as that ideal end wasn't 100% unreachable, he had to keep trying, but no one seemed to think the same. I think I upset her. Silence seemingly came back, but to his surprise, he got something. Still, good luck. Oh! Oh? Thanks, but I can't do it alone. We need to unite to have a chance. Can't you at least consider it? I can. Will you? No. But here's some advice. Even Even if you manage to save everyone, it will come at a price. And that price might not be worth it for you. Now that was truly unexpected. He had no idea what she meant. It was too ambiguous. At least we got her talking. I think. Fuck, at this point, I don't know. Too weird. What price? I'm not a psychic. I can't see the future. Right, but what do you mean exactly? Not a financial price. I mean, I got that part. Don't leave me with that suspense. A goal like that would require a sacrifice. With that, she turned around and left. At least, she tried to. Wait! That's not how you end a conversation! She seemed annoyed, but Bill wanted to keep digging the meaning behind her words. Are you saying that someone will have to die? Are you referring to number 2? No. Then... it's just... a hunch. That's it. Something or someone will have to give. She tried to leave again, and again. He tried to stop her, but this time he got no response. So he decided to let her be, as it was preferable to gaining her hate. Yeah. Interesting. At least we are able to get something out of her. With that done, it was time to focus on his objective. Searching had never been his forte. After a while, he hadn't gotten any results. He decided it would be better to try elsewhere. Where to go now? Well, let's find out by saving. Well, last place we can look. Fish tank! And the sofas. The big fish tank near the counter was quite eye-catching. For no particular reason, he decided to go there. Ooh. Just as he got there, something, or more like someone, caught his attention. Lime, laying down on one of the sofas. At first, he thought that she was sleeping, but her eyes were open. Her gaze, pointing somewhere on the ceiling, gave away that something was on her mind. And before he could say a word, she greeted him first.
Hey, Billboard. These sofas are the bestest. Try one. Your body melts into pleasure, like being on paradise.
Almost seemed like she was an advertiser. They did look comfortable, but considering the circumstances, he didn't like the paradise part one bit. Besides the fact that the place was no heaven, it was instead closer to the opposite. He also didn't wish to depart the land of the living anytime soon. Definitely not. Lime, however, seemed oblivious to those unfortunate implications. In general, he wasn't sure if Lime realized that their lives were in danger. She obviously knew about the game and its rules, but she wasn't taking it seriously whatsoever. Until then, he had interpreted it as blind optimism. But maybe it was that she didn't care about losing. Maybe she didn't value her own life enough, or perhaps she was confident in her own victory. No, I shouldn't be thinking this. Trying to shake off those thoughts, he sat on the sofa in front of her. Actually, not bad. Very soft.
Yeah, the softest, like a cloud.
Right, like paradise.
Exactly. You're getting it.
He sighed. Blind optimism wasn't the right word anymore. It was as if eyesight wasn't the only thing sense she lacked. But that didn't annoy him. In fact, he couldn't help but worry about her, while at the same time feeling a small tinge of envy. She's so optimistic about it, my god. Since the moment he'd first opened his eyes in that bar, his mind had been filled, his body with fear. worry, shivers, anxiety, and he could feel himself slowly drowning in that sea of negative emotions, taking it all in, never reaching the bottom of that poisoned cup. If he could relax, throw away all worries, and be carefree like her, he'd finally be able to breathe. But he couldn't. I want to talk to you a bit.
Of course, why else would you come to visit me?
Well, I didn't know you were here, though.
Huh? Wait, where else would I be but here? These sofas really are the bomb, my dude.
I mean, I don't really know you much. We first met an hour ago, or fuck, even less than that.
Oh yeah, true, but like, I'm not much of a mystery. Not like them. What you see is what you get. Nothing to hide, baby.
If you say so.
But I feel like you do have an ace up your sleeve.
Wait a minute. Isn't that what... An ace? Like what? I'm not poker.
Go Billy, good one, nice.
Huh?
You know, ace, poker.
Yes, I understand my own joke. I mean, it wasn't much of a joke, I just said it without thinking.
What's with that face, then?
What do you think I'm hiding?
Don't take it personally. I'm not saying you're hiding anything big. It's just the impression I got, like, there's more than meets the eye. Obvious copyrighted joke here.
More like, what? I'd say that's you. Copy? Oh, right. Anyways, I'd say that's you, actually.
Me? People call me special a lot, but not in the good sense.
Sadly, it doesn't surprise me.
Even if I was, though, my life is pretty normal. I always have to make up stories to seem more interesting.
You don't have to do that. Like what?
Well, once I said some UFOs got me and whisked me away for a Milky Way tour. Just like the Redux version, though. The highlights. And then aliens from some other galaxy showed up and started an intergalactic war with me as the audience. And before dying, one of the other aliens revealed he was my father.
Did you seriously tell that to someone?
Their minds were blown!
Yeah, that I believe.
I mean, dude, if I'm making some shit up, might as well go big. What's the point otherwise, you know?
So, you, like, have a bad habit of lying about yourself. That is not good. That is not good.
Also, reverse logic trick, the crazier it is, the more they'll think you're serious. It's like a kid saying a dog ate their homework. Either he's trash at making up excuses or not, or he's being serious.
In your case, I feel like they'd think there's something wrong with you, instead of believing it. Bill was baffled. Talking with her was like trying to learn a new language. Yes it is.
So, what are you here for then? Heard the call of the sofa too?
Well, if I was looking for one, they're all over the bar.
But none like these. Trust me.
Pretty sure they're all very similar, if not identical.
You can't be sure unless you try them all. Okay, really though, why'd you come here then? Were you looking for something? Or someone?
Well,
No worries. Pretend I'm not here. Do what you must.
Are you sure?
Of course! Still got 3 sofas waiting for me to check them, you know?
Do you really think this is the time to be doing this?
Well, if not now, when? Don't think I'll be visiting this place twice. Besides, lying down is what we all need the most right now. Especially you. At this rate, the stress is gonna make your head explode. Kaboom!
Sure. Having some time to relax would be nice, but the rules will make deaths inevitable in just 5 hours, and then in 9. We're too pressed for time.
What's all this pressure you're on? What are you, a scuba diver? You're billiards. One simple tap to the right ball and you can win the match. You just need that bit of luck. Auntie Lime's advice. Words of wisdom. Careful though, next one won't be free.
Okay, I won't lie, like, she's such a weirdo, but her attitude is enough to, well, actually, he just says it right here. Her attitude is questionable, but she managed to cheer him up a bit, at least. She has, like, this sort of draw to her, you know what I mean? We're like, if just spending some time with talking with her can kind of, like, reduce some stress, even if some of the shit that she says makes no sense sometimes. She has, like, that sort of energy that can just kind of cheer people up. You know. Maybe he did need to throw aside all his worries and fears for a bit and just rest. But he didn't think he could. How could he calm himself in that situation? The way Lime made it look so easy raised the chance that she really believed in her survival, or that, for some other reason, she didn't need to worry. Or maybe it was just her personality.
So, were you just taking a walk, or were you looking for someone?
Yeah, something like that, I guess. He was better off not mentioning his objective.
Well, if you change your mind and want to join my sofa worship cult, come see me again. We're always open to new recruits, remember?
Sounds like my kind of cult.
But if you choose not to, that's all I've got to say. Good day, sir.
And with that, she closed her eyes. Is she going to sleep? That allowed him to search the area more secretly, at least. I guess! He started under the sofas, but there was nothing there to find. He skipped Lime's, but the likelihood of something being under the one sofa he skipped was low. If there was, he would just have to deal with his bad luck and look somewhere else. Nothing. After a while, he gave up. Nothing in sight. It was best to go somewhere else. There's nowhere else to go, though. It was now 1:32. Still some time left for the second council. The objective had been taken care of, but he couldn't relax too much. He had to get ready. The first council had been too chaotic, and even though, in the end, it wasn't all bad, it had only been a first step. Number 2's life was in danger, and even if it wasn't, that person could act feeling threatened. Or it could be him. He had to overcome that obstacle, the lack of knowledge on his number, as soon as possible. Thanks to his data, he had already ruled out many possibilities, but the remainder could be more resilient. It would all depend on the data he got on the next hours. He didn't want to rely on much luck. Again and again, he looked at the contents of his barman in search of any mention of his number. He was sure it had to be somewhere, but no luck. Was there a reason? Or did nobody know their numbers? That would make the game too complicated. It would make no sense from the owner's perspective. And if that was the case, it'd be unlikely for nobody to mention it. Maybe he should ask someone in private, with no intention of playing seriously. It wasn't a big risk, or was it? It was then that his bar mantle in his hand started to vibrate. Oh, hold up. Huh? It was a small vibration, barely making any noise, but that could be clearly felt by touching it. Its meaning was made clear by looking at the screen. You got a message? Uh-oh. Did it freeze again? Ah, there we go. Message received. 8. Messaging is only allowed when responding to a received message, requiring a coherent response in less than 10 minutes after being sent, unless a council is underway. He quickly went into messaging. until then empty, which now contained one thing. 8 had spoken. With the possibility of being 8 out, now only 2 options remained. His number could wait for now. However, that conversation was more urgent. Who are you? The message's brevity was quite striking. It made sense, though. The messages didn't show any names, just the number. So being brief and to the point seemed to be a good way to avoid being identified. Unfortunately, his own number didn't appear, nor could he check every chat room without breaking Rule 8. I have 10 minutes to answer, but I should just do it now. That seemed to be the perfect chance to reveal his problem without revealing his identity. But before that, he checked his surroundings. Vodka, cigar, piano, and cocktail were still drinking and chatting on the counter, with no one else around. Oh boy! Could one of them be 8? Writing short messages without being suspected wasn't too difficult, as everyone carried their barman and frequently checked it. Yeah. So we got confirmed that one of us is 8. Just in case, he decided to go into the bathroom where he could write without being seen. Once there, after some thinking, he finally wrote his answer. No lo sé? Uh-oh. It changed language. But most likely not the answer 8 was expecting. And indeed, the response didn't take long. Oh, fuck! Who are you? I don't know. Amnesia? I don't know my number. That's impossible. What's my number? He waited for several minutes, but no response was coming. That seemed to have left 8 wordless. It can't be. It was truly strange. Clearly 8 knew their own number, otherwise no message would be sent, and the rest should know too. Why wasn't it on his barman? If it was simply badly designed and it was hard to find, 8 wouldn't have been so shocked. Shocked to the point of considering more believable, he didn't know his own name, Amnesia, not knowing his number. There was something else he noticed. While being concise made sense, asking his name so bluntly expecting an answer was quite pointless. Maybe childlike innocence? In which case, that would be piano. Maybe piano is number 8? The rule only forced them to give a coherent answer, not to answer questions, and especially with no obligation to tell the truth. Maybe 8 only wanted a reaction, make him talk, but it didn't seem to be the best strategy. He wanted to ask, but sadly the rule only allowed for responses, which he'd already done. If 8 didn't talk to him again, he couldn't say anything else. Well, fuck! After some time waiting for a response and none arriving, he got out of the bathroom. The uncertainty appeared to have increased, but in reality, thanks to that conversation, he could be pretty certain that his number was either 2 or 6. And let me see something. So, this gives him freedom to move outside the Golden Jack. The person with the accused number will have to abstain from voting. If a majority is reached, but the chosen person is incorrect, the accuser won't be able, so he can break that rule, maybe. We'll find out. Whew! Uh-oh. Second game time, here we go! Too much time had been lost with that conversation. It was already 1:40. Only 5 minutes left for the start of the council, and the only things he had accomplished were surviving for another hour and getting closer to his number. He'd have to improvise again. Bit of an understatement. Just gonna say that right now. Oh, right, I'm up here now. There. Alright, council time! Without wasting any time, he went to the same area where they'd done the first one. Somewhere over there waiting.
Right on time, I see.
Yeah, I guess. He sat on the same spot. Where are the others? Poker, Gin, Lime, and Coffee were still missing. Oh, Poker and Gin said they were going to play chess. Really? Yes, I can confirm it. That's what they told me, at least. And I saw Lime lying on a sofa. Oh, yes, me too. I hope she didn't fall asleep. That would be the worst. Or should I go look for them? No need. You already did enough for us back at the counter. Let's hope they're responsible enough to remember.
The barman have an alarm. Their problem.
If the girl fell asleep, I wouldn't put much faith on that waking her up. I know from experience, few things can wake me.
We got the idea, old fart.
Well, the building could collapse and I still wouldn't get up. Nothing like some good sleep.
Coffee came at the time, speechless as usual. She sat in her seat, raising her hand as her only greeting, like a student raising their arm at roll call, though much less enthusiastically. Not that they could blame her. Nobody wanted to be there either. Only 2 minutes left. Maybe we actually should go look for them. He had tried to not worry too much, but as the moment approached, it was hard not to. Losing someone for breaking a rule as basic as attending the council would be horrible.
Lime is in the house!
But finally, Lime arrived alongside Gin.
Just in time.
Weren't you with Poker?
I was, yeah.
Right, but not anymore.
We played a couple times, but finished a while ago. Wasn't gonna be doing that for a whole hour, please. Good thing Guinevere came to my rescue like a prince waking up the sleeping beauty.
Then, you really fell asleep on the sofa?
That's a secret.
Yeah, right. Got lucky that I was just passing by.
Fine. Mea culpa c'est la vie.
Both sat on their spots. Only Poker remained, with only a minute left. Poker! Luckily, he appeared a few seconds later in a hurry, sitting quickly.
Sorry, got distracted.
What the hell were you doing?
Investigating, duh.
And you almost missed the train.
Did you find something, at least?
I wish. Oh boy, here we go.
Alright. It's time for another council. The barman lit up, showing the council warning. The time had arrived again. It felt quick, like they just finished the first one. The situation wasn't desperate yet, but time advanced without mercy. Their pact wasn't enough, and it would break if a solution wasn't found. It didn't seem possible at that point, so he had to focus on making sure everyone was kept calm. With that goal in mind, the council started. Okay. I bet if after this is probably when the demo's over. Making the assumption. There we go. I'm gonna keep these all together. Here we go again. Where do we start? I'm guessing rule 3.
Yeah, best to have it done first.
Whose turn is it?
Me. Not happy about it, but that's what was decided, so I don't intend on running away if it's for everyone's sake. Don't worry. Just say any number and you'll be fine. Cigar sighed, took a breath, and after a few seconds... My number is 7. Silence took control until Bill hurried to put an end to that tension. Okay, we're safe.
Never imagined a number could be such a big deal.
Alright, because as we all know, numbers aren't important in life, please.
Not in mine. Well, money maybe, and other stuff. Fuck, I don't know.
You aren't rich, are you?
More like the opposite, really.
Most of us here probably know what that's like, I'd say.
Goddamn money, always being a problem.
What?! That message suddenly appeared in their barman, along with an alarm. Who was responsible? They had started talking, getting distracted. Everyone had their barman on hand. It could have been anyone. One of them had broken that piece. Who fucking did that? Most wanted to scream, especially Bill, but had to cover their mouths as the rules forbid speech during an accusation. Now he had to trust the rest would keep the pact, that they wouldn't vote Cigar. But that betrayal could cause a domino effect. God damn it! Who did that? Cigar stared deeply into her barman, as if entranced, or more accurately shocked. I have to write a name. Anyone but Cigar or me. Thankfully, he was sure his number wasn't 7 thanks to his data, so he didn't need to abstain as a precaution. With a pulsating heart and sweaty hands, he went for Gin, the shortest name until a sudden thought stopped him. There was the possibility of others thinking the same thing, and choosing Gin. If she was the most voted one and happened to be correct, it would be a catastrophic mistake. Fuck. This is not good. Okay, damn it, I wish I could look at the rules right now. What was 7 again? This is not good. This is really, really fucking bad. He had to be extremely careful. Human lives are on the line. In the end, he chose poker. His fears about Gin ended up being unnecessary, because as soon as he wrote the first 2 letters, the remaining ones were auto-completed. Either way, his choice had already been made. Accusal finished. Cigar has obtained a majority vote. Cigar is not Rule 7. Fuck! Oh god, here we go. The second council. But who fucking did that? Oh, this is bad. No! Who? We had a deal, right? Hold on. When data is revealed to others, no part can be omitted or faked, and each player can only unlock 1 data per hour. So, oh, fuck me. Okay. Each player can only unlock 1 data per hour. That means whoever the fuck is number 7 literally has access to all of the data. Which means they potentially have the power to suss out anybody's number, potentially. We can talk about that in a moment, but first for your safety, should what? Was it you? Please, calm down. Dot is right. Sadly, you need to give out your rule. Uh-oh, we fucked up a little bit. I fucked up. I know, but... I'm sorry. It's my fault. You? I mean, I didn't do it, but it was me who proposed the pact. And now... Fine. Don't blame yourself. We were all too innocent. My real number is... It's 5.
Well, Well, admit you down, don't worry, madam. At least now they won't vote for you again.
I actually can't check my... okay. Immediately after a rule's death, the player with this number will have the option to swap it with the fallen rule. Oh boy. I suppose. And it's not a dangerous rule. Nobody wins anything by going after it.
It's the safest, in fact. Even if we know it, it can be changed later on for a different one. And you'll be safe again.
Wait, that's only true if somebody dies.
Sure, after this, though.
Wait, no, calm everyone. No, we can't let this defeat us. Some of us went too far, maybe led by curiosity or fear. Still, we need to remain united. I was never really sure if we were united to begin with.
Clearly not.
Even if that's the case, we need to keep this alliance alive to keep alive ourselves. To keep ourselves alive. You expect me to forgive people who just tried to kill me?
They couldn't kill you, just reveal your real number, and it wasn't very useful.
What?
Hey, let's carry calm and keep on.
That's not how it works. I don't condone what happened at all. But even though it's a hard pill to swallow, it would be hard to find out who did it. We should let it go just this once.
This time? And what's the plan if it happens again?
There should be some consequences. This pact is basically non-existent otherwise. That might be true, but if we don't know who broke it, can't be.
Correct, and that's the critical problem. The reason this betrayal has happened.
I admit that in my case, being discovered as 5 isn't as bad, but for others...
Whose turn is next? On the third one.
Mine.
Still planning on following through with the number? Now's the moment to know.
It's disappointing to see how some were capable of doing this behind our backs. I'd be lying if I said this didn't make me question it. But even so, someone has to do it to keep all our antidotes in reach.
So?
To be honest, I'm ready to keep my word, but only if by extending our time, we can truly escape.
Now that you mention it, we have yet to talk about it.
About...
We need a plan to escape. This pact is fated to fail otherwise.
Right. We need Rule 2, right? It's the only way. Yes, we need your cooperation, but...
If 2 was willing to help, they'd have done it already!
We'll have to find out who it is with the data we have. It might be the only way, but if we do it by force, they could oppose us. And it might be me. Does anyone have any data on 2? Wait, I think it'd be better if we do it privately.
Why?
Also, we do have a bug here that forgot to mention. So that 2 can feel safer. We need their help. Yes, that might be for the best.
But still, I'm not sure that'll work. If only 2 can go out, we won't get very far.
So what do we do?
Take a wild guess.
Off them, you mean? No wonder they're hiding. I'm not saying that's the only option.
But it is, right?
Who knows?
After that, the discussion stagnated. Everything hanged by a thread. The relative peace couldn't last much longer, and they all knew that. If there was no other choice, Bill would have to find whoever possessed Rule 2 and convince them. Or if it was himself, make a move. If anyone has any information on number 2, please tell me privately. Nobody said anything about this petition, but everyone agreed on ending the council prematurely. And after the council, his fears were confirmed when nobody approached him with information. If someone had some data, they weren't willing to share it with him. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Damn. Whew. That was a very short-lived council. Possibilities. What was his name? He'd never used it for all the time he'd been with him, referring to him as a big brother. He was sure that they had introduced themselves when they first met, that he had no doubt heard it from other people. But that identity had disappeared from his memories. Say, what do you want to do? I don't know, play something? The boy laughed a bit at his answer. No, didn't mean right now. What would you like to do in the future? The future? He had never thought about it. Was there a future? He didn't think about the future as something that awaited him tomorrow, or in a week, but as a faraway concept. A time he couldn't possibly imagine in his young mind. Though he did know, better than most kids his age, that the present didn't last forever. As time goes on, everything changes, reaching completely different futures. The reason that he knew with so much certainty was the same as why he was there, with that person. And it was precisely because he knew that he couldn't imagine that future. Because that future can be practically anything, something you cannot predict. And among those infinite possibilities, there was the possibility that such a future simply did not exist. That was something else he knew well for his age. Death. Damn. After the council, everyone went together to the counter to get their antidotes, same as before. They started to feel the effects of the poison on the way there, but unlike the previous hour, vodka endured and there were no incidents. Although physically unharmed, the council had damaged the group's morale. Bill still retained a small hope of someone approaching him to talk. However, as he drank his antidote, it dispelled alongside the poison. Could he really be number 2? That thought refused to leave his brain. Likes black coffee, 1579. Travels to another country, 345910. Neither data applied to him, That left him with only 3 possible numbers. And one of them had also been ruled out by the messages he'd received. 2. You must remain inside the golden jack. 6. In an accusal, the person with the accused number will have to abstain from voting. If a majority is reached but the chosen person is incorrect, the accusers won't be able to vote that person again in future accusations. One of these 2 had to be his, and now with access to new data, the truth could finally come out. Let's find out. He went into the data menu and opened the 3rd one on the list. Oh. Oh. An unavoidable shiver ran through him. That data went much farther than what he'd ever anticipated they would go. The amount of numbers was also unexpected. Just 2. That made it a powerful data to discover them, and they weren't rules he could disregard. There was a macabre irony in that one data being tied to the number that could kill others directly, and the number it could create a union with. A dangerous pair he had to be wary of, but his goal wasn't to reveal anyone's numbers aside from his own, and unfortunately those 2 were already discarded. He could wait for another hour for another piece of data. Maybe he could interrogate every player. He had started to feel them distancing from him, however. Those betrayals had broken their trust, and it couldn't be easily recovered. Maybe that path was a dead end. If everything was to go downhill, with disaster awaiting at the bottom, waiting for another hour was too big of a risk. The next council could be the beginning of the end. If the likelihood of being 2 was 50%, or even if it wasn't, he had to make a move. Vodka's words came back to him. He could no longer look away, waiting for all of them to join up. In that case, slowly he stood up. The decision had been made. His legs were shaking. Clearly he wasn't mentally ready to do it. But then again, he'd never be. He turned his back on the counter, and making sure nobody followed him, headed to the exit. He'd actually done it. He couldn't believe it himself. No turning back now. He had to keep going no matter what awaited him. Outside the bar, as expected, wasn't the outside world. They were inside a much bigger place with a completely different look from the bar. In the worst case scenario, he'd just broken rule number 2, and an hour later the poison would kill him. But there was hope. What could he do now? Best case scenario was escaping and finding help, but considering number 2 could exit the bar without consequences, his hopes weren't too high. Yet even then, he would search until he found something. Be it the antidotes, anything that could help them, or at least information. Holding tightly to his hope, the boy ventured into the unknown. He had no clue on what that place was, and there were no windows to see outside. Still, it was much bigger than he had imagined. His time was limited. At the same time, the bigger it was, the bigger the chances of finding something. And indeed, he finally reached another door. And on the other side... No, that wasn't what he was looking for. It was the opposite of what he needed, in fact. The room he found behind that door was what he had feared since the start. It's the bar again, isn't it? Oh! A weapon arsenal! The necessary ingredients to produce the worst end possible. A massacre. None of the weapons there were powerful enough to blast a wall and get outside. Not like he knew how to use one in the first place, even if there were any. It was useless. He had to keep searching, hoping that none of those weapons would ever be used. The more he explored that maze, the bigger the sensation of being watched grew. Maybe it was due to his restlessness. In fact, that was probably it. And yet, while it made sense for it to be pure paranoia, he couldn't disregard the possibility that the mastermind was watching them suffer. That had to be it. His only motive. enjoying their suffering. It was the only way to make sense of that whole situation. Only a maniac would do something like that. After some time, he started to feel like he was running in circles. That layout was confusing, possibly on purpose. Every once in a while, something felt familiar, making him feel like he'd been there before. Perhaps that was the case, or just his imagination. He checked his barman, needing to know how much time had passed, how much time left for the poison. You have broken Rule 2. You will now be eliminated from the game. Oh! That was the message welcoming him after turning on the screen. He was number 6! Being in a hurry, he hadn't checked it since going outside. Either way, it no longer mattered. His goal hadn't changed. He had to hurry. He needed to find the antidotes. Up to that point, he'd gone at a relatively fast pace, but now he was running. An exit. Help. Information. At least some answers. Before he realized, he was screaming for help, asking to be saved. But the only response was his own echo. A passing thought of returning to the bar went through his mind. Unfortunately, by that point, he didn't know how to go back. No. Even if he could, backing off would make his sacrifice pointless. He refused to do that. He had to be strong. The decision had been made, knowing the risks involved. He would keep running, looking for his salvation, until he found the life that had been snatched away from him, for which he'd worked for years. He had to do it for himself, and that person. And that person? He'd made it. Finally, he had done it. That was the first time he had seen that corridor and that door. On the other side was the exit. It had to be. Just a bit more, and that nightmare would come to an end. That godforsaken bar. That endless labyrinth. Finally, he could leave it all behind. His happy ending was waiting for him. Trying to ignore the poison's pain as much as he could, he kept going. Just a bit more. Quickly. Just a bit. Bad end. One stroke. Welcome once more. At last you came back here, though thankfully no death lasts forever for you. The same cannot be said for the unfortunate rules, however. So, what mournful tragedy led to the end of your life this time? The trajectory of the ball went awry, and this is the result, a blunder. I do wonder, though, did you also believe that you were Rule 2, or did you foresee the mistake in his actions? Logic seemed solid, yet it was not. Cornered and with no other option, the ball had to be launched with an assumption that ended up being wrong. You may have died, but you are here alive, and can try again. He cannot use this information while you can. Use it well. The question now is, what path do you take? When was his fate decided? Was it when I agreed to be number 1? This might surprise you, but the solution lies in the first council. Indeed, since that moment his death was certain, at least from our point of view. He could have taken the decision to leave, and his fate would have changed. Slightly, anyways. You probably want to make that choice for him, but sadly that is not possible. This rule does not listen to reason, and his decision is firm. Wow! But even if he had not left, even if his life would have likely been extended, how much more would it have been? Then desires might be unreachable. There exists only one way to prevent him from going out of that door. so that his future improves, by taking a road that does not seem ideal, contrary to his goals, but that ironically will stretch his life. Let's say it was one of fate's pranks, or perhaps it contains some meaning. That is all I will say. Any more would decrease my neutrality somewhat. Even worse than that. Take away some of the fun, no? Though before going back there, a discussion on what happened is required. It begs to be done. Although attended with his death, you got a little look on the enigmatic outside world, even if very limited. It is too soon to reveal any more. Does a salvation truly exist? Billy does not find one during the hour here outside, but just still too soon to give up, right? Maybe this has no sense of direction. This was only a preview of what is to come. I can hardly contain my excitement. Enough! Time to go back to that first council and to take another path. One that extends the life of this rule a bit more. Bigger and harder challenges await you two, and I will be here to observe them with full interest. Let's make a toast in honor of a fruitful game, and the souls of these lost rules for the Golden Jack and for our dearest owner. Fucking hell!